What a way to start. I'm sitting here talking while I'm on mute. I thank you all again for being here this evening. I'd like to go ahead and welcome our School of Nursing Dean, Dr. Tara Halsey, to give you guys a brief welcome. Dean Halsey.
Hi, well, welcome. And I'm thrilled that you're interested in our program. I will say that I've been dean of this wonderful School of Nursing for about 9.5 years now. And I can attest to the quality of our program and the dedication of our faculty and our staff. I think, I don't think I know, our pass rates speak for themselves. We are one of the top in the country. And we have a model that is focused around student success. So that's why we're here. We're here for our students. It's why we do what we do. And we take it very seriously. So your priority, if you're a student at the West Virginia University School of Nursing. And I will say also that our employers of our grads across the country, many different states, and I hear this consistently, can't wait to have our grads because you're super prepared when you graduate from our program, and you will see that in comparison. I have had graduates come to me over the years, again, consistently, and say, wow, well, we were new nurses in a hospital, not even necessarily in West Virginia. Of course, we'd love for you to stay in West Virginia, but they will say, well, we were with other new nurses from other programs around the country, and we were more prepared. And we just hit the ground running, and it was very obvious. So there are a lot of reasons why West Virginia University School of Nursing is a great choice. And I'm just thrilled that you're interested in it. This is an opportunity for you to ask any questions that you have. We have such a dedicated and qualified team here, and they will help you through the process of application, any questions that you have. So I just ask that you take advantage of the opportunity. I have an open door policy as well. My email is easy to find, and you're welcome to email me any questions that you have or stop by. We can schedule a tour if you would like as well. We have one of the top simulation labs in the country. And so that is a part of what the students at West Virginia University School of Nursing do as well. So just enjoy this time, ask the questions, and I appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Dean Halsey. So just to give you all a brief overview of some of the things that we'll be discussing here this evening. So we'll obviously do some introductions to some other guests that are here with us this evening. We'll discuss the academic programs that we offer at the undergraduate and the graduate level here at WVU. And we'll discuss the freshman tracks, first-time freshman tracks that a lot of you have been admitted to now. And then we'll discuss the admittance process and timelines and things, graduation timelines, things like that. We have Dr. Keener, who's going to go over the curriculum with you this evening as well. We do have our student ambassadors here with us to kind of share their experiences here within the School of Nursing. We'll go over some of the STEP simulation lab that we have here in the School of Nursing. And we'll also kind of talk about our branch campuses in Beckley and Kaiser as well. Then we'll talk about ways to stay involved here within the School of Nursing and at WVU. We'll talk about some facts and figures, data points, things like that. We'll discuss the laptop program requirement here at WVU and the School of Nursing, and then what's next in the admissions and applications process. What are the next steps for you? And then we'll finish up with a Q&A session so that way you can ask everybody here any questions. So we'll go ahead and do the introductions of our faculty and staff that are with us here this evening. We have Dr. Brad Phillips. He's our Associate Dean of Undergraduate Academics. We have Dr. Tina Antil-Keener, who is our Director of BSN Programs. We have Hillary Parcell, who is our Beckley chairperson. We have Dr. April Shapiro, who is our Kaiser's chairperson. We have Caitlin Delegati, who is our Director of Admissions. And then we have myself, the College Recruitment Specialist here within the School of Nursing. And then we also have our student ambassadors with us here this evening as well. We have Aiden Slusser. He is a senior from Fairmont, West Virginia. We have Kylie Dick, who is a junior from Bowie, Maryland. We have Bella Botero, who is a junior from Lansdale, Pennsylvania. And then we have Ella Tingler, who's a junior and also from Fairmont, West Virginia. So the undergraduate.
And Philip, we also have Jessica Maynard, who's Jessica Bingham now for the Kaiser campus. So she's an ambassador as well.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Shapiro.
Absolutely.
And then so some of the undergraduate programs that we offer obviously are our traditional BSN program, which is what we'll predominantly be focused on here this evening. That is offered on our Beckley, Kaiser, and Morgantown campuses. We have a BA to BSN program, which is a second degree program for students that have earned a degree in another field and are now considering a career in nursing. This is offered on our Bridgeport United Hospital Center campus and then our Morgantown main campus. We do have an RN to BSN program, and this is geared for students that have completed an associate's from a nationally accredited nursing program and now want to continue on and get their BSN. And then new for 2024, we have an LPN to BSN program. This is offered on our Kaiser campus. And then graduate programs, just in case any of you guys are considering this already, we do feature an MSN program with a family nurse practitioner focus. That program is online. We have a post-MSN certification program that features a family nurse practitioner, psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner, and nurse executive leadership program. And those are online as well. We have a DNP or Doctorate of Nursing Practice program that is online. We have a DNP Nurse Anesthetist program, otherwise known as kind of CRNA. That is a hybrid program, but it does require students to reside locally here because there's a lot of in-person components with that. And then we have a nursing PhD program, which is hybrid, but there's mostly online components for that PhD program. So what you all are here for today is to get more information on that traditional BSN. So first, what we're going to do is discuss the first-time freshman tracks that some of you or all of you have been placed into. First, we'll discuss the direct admit track. That's kind of like the most appealing track the students are really trying to aim for. That's just because students are admitted into the School of Nursing as a first-time freshman. So you kind of have one foot in the program already. You can keep your seat, and in order to do that is if you have a 3.5 freshman year GPA here at WVU. And then there you can see the GPA and ACT, SAT, and TEAS requirements for that. Pre-nursing is the second of the three tracks that we have. Students are not admitted into the School of Nursing as a first-time freshman. You complete freshman year prerequisites, and that's how you can earn a seat into the program. Everybody takes the same prerequisites during that freshman year, regardless of whatever freshman track you come into. And then you can see the freshman year requirements needed for the GPA and test score and things like that. I will say many students are admitted into this track from their GPA only. As you can see, if you have a 3.8 GPA or higher, that can place you into pre-nursing regardless of if you've taken a test score or what your test score is. And then lastly, for the Morgantown campus, we have health and well-being. We have some of our branch campuses have some kind of similar names, but health and well-being is the technical term here in Morgantown. So it's very similar to pre-nursing, but students are advised through the College of Applied Human Sciences here in Morgantown for the first semester. And then after that first semester, you can change your major to pre-nursing if you have a 3.0 GPA or higher. And then that allows you to apply into the nursing program and finish a couple of the prerequisites you need to be a pre-nursing student for. So the process for admittance into the actual nursing program. So again, everybody takes the same prerequisites in that freshman year, regardless of whatever your freshman track is. Again, for the direct admit, if students have a 3.5 GPA or higher, you're automatically moved into that program. There's no separate application or anything like that. Pre-nursing, again, you're taking those prerequisites, but there is a separate application that you have to complete. That will take place during your freshman year. And as you can see, that will be open from December 1st to March 15th of your freshman year. And then health and well-being, as I mentioned, is very similar to pre-nursing. The biggest difference is you have to change your major to pre-nursing after that first semester. And then again, have to have a 3.0 or higher in order to do that. And then you'll see that the application deadline is the same for those students as well. So how to officially move into the program? Those decisions take place after you finish your spring semester of your freshman year. So the direct admit students, you finish finals, and the direct admit students that have maintained that 3.5, they're automatically placed into that first fall semester. And then the remaining seats during that fall go to the highest achieving pre-nursing and health and well-being students. And then we make decisions for the spring of the sophomore year here in Morgantown. And then if students aren't admitted into either one of those three options, students do have the option to accept a seat on a branch campus in Beckley or Kaiser if there are seats available for those campuses. So some graduation timelines. If you start in the fall in Beckley, Kaiser, and Morgantown, it's a 4-year program, meaning 1 year of prerequisites, 3 years in the nursing program. If you start in the spring semester of the sophomore year, it does add an extra semester. Now, I just want to make it clear you're not taking any additional classes. You're still taking 122 credit hours. They're just kind of stretching that over an additional semester. So I'm going to go ahead and stop screen sharing here real quick, and I'm going to let Dr. Keener kind of take over, and I'll go over our progression plan starting from the freshman into the senior year.
All right. Can everyone see my screen? All right. So if you can safely join this presentation, I welcome you to take your phone out, and you can use the QR code to join, or you can go to minty.com and enter the code. So I'll give everyone a few moments. Only do it if you're safe at home in a seated position, not if you're driving along some way. I have some thumbs up. All right, I'll give you a few more seconds. I see people still joining. All right, I think it's slowed down, so I'm going to go ahead and whoops, there comes a few more. All right, get to 20 here. All right, so what questions do you have about the WVU School of Nursing curriculum or program? So go ahead and you can use the online platform to go ahead and ask your questions, and I'll try to answer them as I'm going throughout. And if I don't answer it now as I'm going throughout the curriculum, we'll definitely try to answer that during that Q&A session. So go ahead and type in any questions that you may have. And it's anonymous, so it's not going to show up. You ask the question or anything. Okay. Can you study abroad? How far is the farthest clinical? Great questions. When do we start? Is it possible to work during the school year? Okay. What do clinicals look like? Is the curriculum hard to balance? Okay, so some of these I'll definitely be able to answer as we go through. And some of them maybe we can talk about during the Q&A session. So Philip or Brad, maybe we can take well, actually I can take a picture of this screen and we can even come back to it. All right, great questions. So some of these we will be answering as I go through.
Yeah, at the end of the presentation, when we have the Q&A session, we'll be able to answer all of those questions. And so everybody will be able to unmute themselves at that time, ask them in person, or if you would just prefer to put the questions in the chat, we can answer questions that way too.
Absolutely. Thank you, Philip. So just a quick overview, and Philip already hit on the total program credits. The total program credits is actually 122 hours, and the nursing credits within that 122 would be 68 credits. Non-nursing credits would be 54. Our program is set up using 5 core competencies that serves as the framework of the BSN curriculum. I'm sure right now you're like, what does that even mean, and why do I care? Well, it's how we frame our framework, or excuse me, how we frame our program and how we look at whether you're meeting the objectives. So some of those things that we're looking at would be communication, your professional role, nursing interventions, your caring, and how well you can critically think. So what does your freshman year look like? Your freshman year, you'll be involved in the Nursing 100 or Introduction to Nursing class. This is an online asynchronous class that you'll be involved in. And during your freshman year, you'll also be taking a lot of your prerequisites. And we call them GEFs, or General Education Foundation courses. And you are required to have 7 of the GEFs within the program, and 1 through 4 is actually satisfied through the prerequisites of the program. And then the others, you can kind of pick and choose what's of interest to you with the histories and things like that. During your first semester sophomore year, this is when sorry about that, starts to get really exciting. This is whenever you get into that nursey stuff, right? You start to talk about, how do we do a physical assessment? How do we talk to people? How do we move people that may have mobility issues? This is also where you start to go to clinical. So you start to go into the hospital during your first semester sophomore, okay? So that's a really great advantage of coming to this program, because many times you're not going into the hospital until later on in the program. But we really find it important to get you in there and you're taking care of people and communicating with people at this very first semester of your sophomore year. Of course, we don't just throw you into the hospital, because you do spend a lot of time in the skills lab or the simulation center, paired up in small groups with clinical faculty. So you have a really solid foundation before you get to go into the hospital in the latter part of that first semester sophomore. And then into your second semester sophomore, you have foundations of nursing practice. This is where you start to learn. You can see the injections there, a lot of the skills such as inserting catheters, feeding tubes, how to pass medications. You also are learning at this time, along with these skills, the pharmacology of, what medications, the side effects, how to be able to give these medications to the patients safely. So this is a really fun time, because these are the skills, and you spend a lot of time, again, in the first few weeks of the semester in the skills lab, learning these things, practicing them with clinical faculty in a safe environment in the skills or the simulation. And then you go and into the clinical settings. So one of the questions was, how far is the clinical sites? Well, here in Morgantown, I'll speak to Morgantown, and then when we go to talk to Kaiser and Beckley, they can also speak to their clinical sites. Our hospital is basically connected to our school, so it's very close, within walking distance. So that's where we spend most of our time with, in the hospital. In your senior year, which we'll get to soon, is your community sites, which is a little bit different. So your clinical sites are very close, within walking distance. All right. So a little quiz to see if anyone's paying attention, if anyone's still awake. How many credits is our program? So 122, is that right? I have 3 saying yes. 8. All right. Great. We're paying attention. That's wonderful. Yes, we have 122 total credits in the program. Awesome. All right. During your first semester junior year, you will be involved in alterations in adult health, alterations in mental health, and evidence-based practice. So evidence-based practice is an online asynchronous course. And the other 2 is where you are going to be in the hospital, again, working with patients 2 times a week now. So in your in your junior semester, you go from the 1 day a week in your sophomore year to 2 days a week in your junior year. And you'll be caring for people with mental health concerns and caring for adults in the hospital setting. And then your second semester junior year, you'll be doing adult health 2, and you'll also be in child and adolescent health, which that's the course that I teach, and an asynchronous online course of ethics and health policy. And again, during this semester, you'll be in the clinical setting 2 days a week. So another little quiz here to see if you're awake is, during what semester do hospital clinical experiences begin? Okay. Got some first semester sophomore. Couple chose first semester junior. All right, so the winner is actually, the truth here is the first semester sophomore. That's when we get you into the hospital clinical experiences. Good. All right, so now moving on to your first semester senior. You will be in maternal, infant, nursing, and women's health care. You will be taking care of women, and you'll be taking care of babies, whether that be whenever they are first born or within the NICU setting. You'll also be in nursing 411, which is nursing in the complex community system. Now, this is the semester where you will be placed in community sites, which means that those community sites may not be in the Morgantown area. When I'm speaking about Morgantown campus, they may be upwards to 60 minutes or an hour and a half away. So actually you need a car during this semester. This is when a car is required because you may be placed at a site that requires a reliable car to get you to that site. You'll spend about 100 hours at this site, and it's a really exciting opportunity for you to see how nurses can impact communities, and how we can play a role in, public health and education and preventative measures to keep our community healthy. And that's really what nursing is all about, is that preventative measures. You'll also be taking a nursing elective. Nursing electives range, we have many of them, range from nutrition to chronic illness of the pediatric patient, to patient experience, nurses' role in the patient experience, movies and mental health. There's a lot of different options to choose from, and it really depends on your interest. And you can have that opportunity to choose something that really fits your area of interest and something that excites you. And then last would be your second semester of your senior year, and this is where you take leadership. Leadership is when you are assigned with a nurse in the hospital setting, and you spend a lot of time with that nurse. You're spending almost 200 hours working with that nurse, working their shift. So it may be a day shift, maybe a night shift. You get to have that real world experience. And it's something that students really value. It's a great way to grow, and you feel, you start to feel that confidence because you were doing this, you're in the same units. You get very familiar with what's going on with the patients that you're caring for after that many hours, and you really grow as a professional, and it gets you ready for that time as you get ready to graduate. You'll also be taking care of the critically ill patients. This is another, wonderful addition to our curriculum, because not many programs have a class that's dedicated to critical care. And you will at WVU, and you get to spend time in the critical care units and doing clinical as well. And then you also take an NCLEX review course to prepare you for that NCLEX that you have to take when you graduate to become that registered nurse. All right, so when do WVU School of Nursing students attend clinical 2 times a week? All right, have one saying sophomore, 15 saying junior year. Yes, it's the junior year. During that junior year is when you start to attend clinicals 2 times a week. You start clinical in your sophomore year, but you start into 2 times a week during your junior year. Great. All right, so just some highlights of the curriculum. Is that you have more than 1,000 clinical hours when you graduate. We have mentioned this before, approximately 98% NCLEX pass rate and 100% job placement. The other things that we offer, of course, I'm sure we're going to be talking about this more. We have very supportive nursing faculty, knowledgeable advisors. We have a peer tutoring program. We have a SOAR peer coaching program as well, and the high fidelity simulation and skills lab. So as a WVU School of Nursing graduate, how many clinical practice hours will you have? All right, 1,000, that's right, 1,000 hours. Okay, and so last but not least, what part of the WVU nursing program excites you? You can just put one word. Good, clinicals. All right, great. So from our word cloud, I see that clinicals is our primary thing that excites us. So that's great. Good. Great. Thank you all for participating in that. All right. So that's all. I had your questions. I know I didn't answer all of them, but I will save them to the for the Q&A. And if you don't feel comfortable putting in a chat, I'll kind of look over the questions that you asked me at the beginning, and I'll make sure that we get most of them answered. All right. All right. There we go. You can start sharing again, Philip. Sorry that I messed you up there. Thank you.
You're all good, Dr. Keener. So right now we'll go ahead and shift to our student ambassadors. You know, they're the focus here. They're the ones going through the program. And so we'd like to share their experiences with you. And I will say, Jessica, I don't want to put you on the spot, but you're welcome to add anything as well if you'd like. So we'll go ahead and start kind of reverse of how these pictures are here on the presentation. So we'll start with Aiden. We have 5 questions here for our students, just so you can kind of get to know them and their thoughts about the program and things like that. So Aiden, what were you looking for in a nursing program, and what attracted you to West Virginia University?
Hey guys, I'm Aiden. I'm a senior in the nursing program. Based on the word cloud, I feel like you guys have a big interest in clinicals, but that was also me. I'm one that you can learn all you want from a textbook, but until I'm actually doing it and being able to see it and practice it in action, that's when it really all like starts to click. So I think with WVU, that was my biggest thing. The simulation lab is fantastic. It's a great place to learn, practice, and get comfortable before you actually go into the hospital and see patients and really learn your skills.
Kylie, on to you.
The first thing I was looking for was honestly just an out-of-state program. I knew I wanted to go to a school that was out of state. And then just like Aiden said, the clinicals starting in your sophomore year is like a huge advantage compared to some other schools. And the amount of hours that you get here, you just like can't replace that with being in a classroom. Getting the hands-on experience is really what you need.
Bella.
Hi, everybody. My name is Bella. I'm a junior in the program, and I'm from Lansdale, PA, which is like outside of Philadelphia area. Kind of like Kylie said, I was looking for an out-of-state program. I wanted somewhere that was far from home, but not too far, that I could make sure I get back there for big things. And I was also looking at the clinicals. I love that we go in so early. I also love the STEP Center. I think I'm somebody who needs a little bit of a boost of confidence, and having the opportunity to practice so many times in the STEP Center, I loved that. And I also love that we have a critical care thing. I think that's so cool. And like Dr. Keener said, a lot of programs don't have that.
And Ella.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ella. I'm a junior in the program. I was also really interested in the clinical experiences we get at WVU. I like that the hospital is literally right there, right where we have class. I also was really interested in a 4-year program rather than a 2-year program, and WVU offered that for me.
And Jessica, again, not to put you on the spot, but if there's anything you'd like to add about what attracted you to our Kaiser campus?
I really wanted something that was in state and that was close to home, to kind of get the education of WVU nursing, but in a smaller setting with a more one-on-one kind of connection.
So next question, were there any other institutions you were looking at before deciding on WVU, or was WVU your first choice? Aiden, to you first.
WVU was honestly my first choice. I did a tour and attended some events like this, and I fell in love with it, thought I felt at home, and I knew this is where I wanted to be.
I wasn't looking at WVU at all at first. I looked at James Madison and University of Delaware. And someone just mentioned to me to go take a tour at WVU, and I loved it. And what really drew me to the program was being able to start in the sophomore year, because the other schools that I looked at didn't offer that.
Yeah, for me, WVU is definitely my first choice. I did apply to other schools, especially some in-state schools, just to see what my options were, but this sounds so cheesy, and they always say, like, right when you get on campus, like, it feels like home. That's exactly how it felt for me. Just the university in general, I loved it, and when I looked into the nursing program, I really felt like I could see myself growing as a person and as a nurse eventually.
Other than WVU, I applied to a small state school, but it was only offering a 2-year program instead of a 4-year program. And it was going to be really hard for me to get a lot of good quality clinical hours, and I was going to have to find them myself. So I really liked that WVU had Ruby right next door for me to learn about nursing.
And then Jessica, were there any other institutions you were looking at before you enrolled at the Kaiser campus, or was that your only one?
I'm actually a transfer student from another nursing institution. I ended up switching to WVU because it's a 4-year program and the quality of education was a lot better and more in depth than what I was receiving previously.
What have you enjoyed so far in our program? Are there any classes or clinicals that stand out to you? Aiden?
We've all kind of touched on clinical in general, but Dr. Keener mentioned the community class where you need a car, and that's the semester I'm in right now. And I'm in like home health and hospice. I don't necessarily want to do that as my nursing career and as a nurse, but it was really like a total different experience getting to be in the homes of patients, getting to care for them in their setting rather than when they come into the hospital. And you only have what's in your car. You have yourself, your computer, and your supplies that are in your car. So I think that community rotation has definitely been one of my favorites, and it just really opens your eyes and makes you think about some of the things that patients are going through or whatever outside of the hospital setting.
So right now I'm in Adult Health 1, and that has been my favorite clinical so far. I feel like being in the hospital 2 days a week has really allowed me to grow and like perform so many different skills. And I've been on a neuro floor and like a trauma step down floor, so I've got to see a lot of different things and practice a lot of different skills that I hadn't had the ability to do before.
I'm also in Adult Health 1, and this has definitely been my favorite clinical. Kind of like Kylie said, I feel like we've gotten to use a lot of our skills. I was on a cardiac step down floor, so like sicker patients, but not necessarily ICU patients, and I loved it. I feel like I learned so much. I had such a great experience with my clinical instructor and really made me get my hands in there and just do as many skills as possible, so I loved it.
The first 5 weeks of the semester, I was on a neuro step down floor, and I felt like I just learned so much. I was able to learn some really important skills from some of the staff, and my clinical instructor really let us get hands-on with the patients and learn some of the skills we had done in the STEP Center.
And Jessica, is there anything that sticks out to you? Any classes or clinicals like that that you've enjoyed?
Yeah, I just finished up my community rotation. I was at the county health department, and that was really interesting. And it's a different kind of nursing than inpatient hospital nursing. And I think that I was able to grow a lot with a lot of my skills there.
So since nursing is a challenging program, Aiden, what are some challenges that you've had and how have you overcome them? Was it from tutoring? Was it from your peers or a faculty member or anything like that?
Yeah, so it's no secret, nursing is tough. It's definitely worth it in the end. And one of the biggest things I recommend is reach out to your faculty and staff. They want to help you, they want to see you succeed, they want you to come to office hours. And one of the things I actually used here on the Morgantown campus was the peer tutoring. I was struggling in a course. I reached out to my professor. She set me up with a student that had already taken the course and done well. That student was able to help me like prior to some of the exams and get me through. So really it's just ask questions, don't be scared. They want to help you, they want to see you do your best and become the best nurse you can be.
The thing that was definitely the most challenging for me was as I was getting into my nursing classes, kind of learning how to study for a nursing exam, because it's definitely a lot different, just like the way of thinking about the questions. And what helped me was probably like studying with my friends and stuff like that. I really like to do like group study sessions. It helps me to kind of talk it out. And then just meeting with the professors one-on-one. They are more than willing to set up a Zoom call, a time for you to come visit them in their office hours, anything that they can do to help you. And I'm not really a person to raise my hand in class and ask a question in front of a bunch of people. So I'd much rather just meet with them one-on-one, and they're more than willing to do that.
Yeah, I definitely would say the biggest thing that's helped me in nursing school, aside from learning how to study, was just making relationships with my faculty and my clinical instructors. Like Aiden said, like they want to see you succeed and they want you to be the best nurse that you can be. That's why they're here teaching us. And I feel like if I hadn't made those relationships with some of my professors, then I probably wouldn't be doing as well as I'm doing now. So I'm very grateful for them.
Studying was definitely hard for me. I felt like I knew how to study in high school, but studying for nursing exams is such a different way of studying. So I went to my professor my sophomore year, and she really helped me like understand how to use a PowerPoint and create questions and prepare for a nursing exam. I also feel like using your peers as a way to get a different perspective on the content we're learning is really helpful, because sometimes it's hard just to learn from a PowerPoint. So I think talking it out with friends is really helpful as well.
My biggest thing was time management. So I had to really like sit down and learn how to plan everything out in a planner, schedule everything. So I made sure that I was giving myself enough time to study, but enough time to have free time and hang out with friends and study with friends too. So I wasn't focusing on just one thing when I should have been focusing on something else.
All right, last question. What are your plans after graduation? Aiden, I know you got some good news here within the last month or so, but what are your plans after graduation? With job, plan to live, goals, things like that?
Yeah, so I got a job in SICU, which is the surgical ICU here at Ruby. We had kind of touched on it, but all throughout clinicals, you're kind of getting to see different parts of the hospital, what you like, what you don't like. And I knew I wanted to do critical care. And when I shadowed in SICU actually, and I loved the surgical trauma type patients.
I'm still trying to keep my options open. I'm not entirely sure exactly what type of nursing I want to do and like what kind of floor I want to be on. But my plan is to probably stay at Ruby after I graduate. I think we just have a big advantage of being in the hospital in there during school, and then the transition just from being in school to an actual nurse. They make that really easy on us, and you're already familiar with the hospital.
I have no idea what I want to do when I graduate. I'm not sure if I want to stay here, if I want to head back home. I still haven't figured that out. I did have the opportunity to shadow one of my clinical instructors in the cardiac ICU, and I absolutely loved it. So I'm really hoping that I enjoy my critical care course and that I go into the ICU at some point. But I still don't really know. So
So far, I've just kind of kept an open mind with every clinical floor that I've been placed on. I really liked a lot of the different floors that I have been placed on, and it kind of surprised me. But ultimately, I would really like to work with pediatrics.
I just got offered a job in Pennsylvania in the emergency room, so I plan to move there and do that after I graduate, and then I will be hopefully starting grad school in the fall.
Well, great. Congratulations on Aiden and Jessica on getting some jobs already way before you've graduated. Is there anything else that any of you would like to add to anybody here this evening?
I'll add one thing, and I think that Jessica kind of talked about like time management. I think it's so important to be involved in your like university, not just in school. Obviously, nursing school is really hard, and it's super important that we study and we make time for that. But it's definitely important that we are also involved in things like clubs, or I saw like a question about work study. I do a work study position with the university. So there's definitely opportunities if you learn how to balance nursing school with your outside life. It's totally possible to not just be the student that has to sit at the desk all day. You can work if you have time for that, and if you manage it, you can be in clubs. And I think that like makes a full circle for your college experience then. So I definitely recommend that. Just make sure you learn how to balance first.
One thing I'll add, Caitlin put information about the SOAR peer coaching program. That is a new program, but I'm actually one of the peer coaches. I love it. I wish I was able to have a peer coach when I was younger, but much like that program, we as student ambassadors are here for you. Reach out to Philip, the recruitment specialist, or anybody to get in contact with us. We would love to talk to you, answer questions you have about the program. And I mean, like Philip said, we're the ones in the program doing what you're going to be doing. So what better way to learn about it and get ready for it than to talk to us?
All right, cool. Well, thank you all for that. So now what we'll do is we'll move into what our STEP simulation lab real quick before we get some insight into our Beckley and Kaiser campuses. So in Morgantown, we do have a simulation lab. It's called the STEP Simulation Lab. It has 20,000 square feet of learning space. There are 4 ICU simulation rooms. There are 2 10-bed open lab spaces. Basically, it's called the Skills Lab. It's where you spend most of your sophomore year. We have 12 patient exam rooms for like head-to-toe assessments and things like that. We have an OB pediatric simulation room, kind of like a labor and delivery room. We have a surgical skills unit and then a fully functioning operating room too. So we have a lot to offer. The nice thing about our simulation lab is we share it with all the other health science center programs here in Morgantown. So you do some interprofessional education, IPEs. You're working with some other health science majors while you're a student here in the nursing program. And so to get some more information on our Beckley and Kaiser campuses, we'll go ahead and turn it over to our chairs people. We'll first start with Hillary Parcell, who's our Beckley chairs person. So Hillary, if you'd like to go ahead and just kind of add anything you want about the program in Beckley.
Okay, sure. Hi, everyone, I'm so glad you all are here tonight to learn about our program. I'm Hillary Parcell, and I am the chair on the Beckley campus, which is located at WVU Tech in Beckley, West Virginia, in the southern part of the state. I'm also alumni of the same program. So I graduated from the WVU School of Nursing on the WVU Tech campus many years ago. So I have a strong passion for the success of our students and our program. We are a smaller campus than you will have on the Morgantown campus. Our faculty student ratio is about 1 to 20, or a little more than that, but our clinical ratio, of course, is the same as all the other campuses. So if you like a little more of a one-on-one time with your faculty, or more of a family type atmosphere, that's what you would get at our campus. We do have a lot to offer. We are located very closely to the new national park, the New River Gorge National Park. And so there are a lot of outdoor opportunities, if you like that kind of thing, that you can get involved with and see and do and have in your spare time. So that's also something in our immediate area. There are several of our faculty on the Beckley campus are also alumni of the program. So they all have a really strong passion for your success. And we would love to have you. If you have any questions at all, you can find my email very easily. Reach out to me and we will get your questions answered. Thank you.
Thank you, Hillary. And I will say that part of the state where Beckley is located is one of my favorite parts of the state. Southeastern West Virginia, very beautiful. So, Dr. Shapiro, is there anything you would like to add about the Kaiser campus?
Definitely. Hi, everybody. So I'm April Shapiro, and I'm the department chair for the Kaiser campus. So, we're one WVU, but we're spread across the state. So we are the smallest of the traditional BSN campuses. We're located on the Potomac State College campus here in Kaiser. So, we too, again, that big university feel, but that sense of family. And as Jessica said, that, one-on-one, our student to faculty ratio in the classroom setting is typically 24-1. And then in clinical, we all follow the same 8-1 ratio. So you really get that, personalized attention, that can make a difference in your education. We too, we're located in the Eastern Panhandle, so there's a lot of things. We're right on the Maryland border, so there's a lot of things that our students do in the state of Maryland as well as West Virginia. So the WISP and Deep Creek Lake and things like that. So on our campus, the athletics and different departments arrange a lot of different trips for students. So if you like whitewater rafting or if you like skiing, things like that, we're pretty much here in the mountains of Appalachia. So there's a lot of, different seasonal sports and things to get involved in. And we encourage that because we want you to make those memories and have that time outside of class. So our students on the Kaiser campus really get involved in a lot of things in the community. This is a small community, a very close community. So we do a lot of things centered on that. Our students are part, of course, the Student Nurses Association. So there's a lot of activities to do for that. As you met Jessica, our student ambassador, she's been a wonderful role model for students. And of course, across all of our campuses, we have the peer coaching, we have peer tutoring. So as Dean Halsey said, all of us are all about your success, and we'll do whatever we can to help ensure that. We all have passion in education, to help you. So, as Dr. Dean Halsey had said, and Dr. Keener said, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're here to answer any questions you have. And as Hillary said, our contact information is right on the web. So please let us know what questions you have. And as Dean Halsey said, come take a tour. If you're exploring the different campuses, just reach out to us and we'll set up a tour for you so that you can see, the simulation labs on our campuses. And they're all state of the science labs. So I think you'd be very pleased no matter which campus.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shapiro. So Dr. Shapiro had mentioned Student Nurses Association, so that's a perfect transition to staying involved on campus. So SNA is a national organization that our students do have the opportunity to be a part of. It's not a requirement, but a lot of students do choose to be a part of SNA. Honors College is another way to stay involved. They have their own residence hall. And so it's a great way to kind of be involved in a community day one on campus. So you're getting to know, other nursing students and also students from other programs around the university as well. I saw some questions about study abroad when Dr. Keener was doing her presentation. We do have some study abroad options. We're happy to announce that we do have a full semester option in Cyprus as of probably maybe 2 or 3 months ago. And then we do have some other locations during university breaks. So winter break, spring break, summer break, and those locations are Brazil, Cyprus, Ecuador, England, Honduras, Japan, Panama, and Vietnam. Dr. Phillips, if I'm missing any, you're more than welcome to add anything to that. And then also anything else that interests you or is important to you. I know Bella is a part of an organization for first-generation college students. So if there's anything that's important to you, I encourage you to be a part of something else here on campus to really kind of enhance your experience here. So some facts and figures about the program. We do have the #1 BSN program ranked in the state of West Virginia. It is a top 100 ranked program as well. We're currently number 86. We're up from number 93 last year. We hope to keep improving on those rankings year after year. A lot of that is in part to our 100% job placement rate. We have a couple of seniors here that already have jobs and they have the whole spring semester ahead of them. So that's just the type of demand that's there for the nursing profession. We have a 99% NCLEX pass rate over the last 6 years. I know our Kaiser campus just had a 100% pass rate this past spring, so we're very proud of that. We have roughly a 91% graduation rate. We do retain and graduate most of the students that start our program. To be entirely transparent, it's most of the time if students leave the program, it's at their own decision. You start those for those clinicals in the sophomore year, and some students, when you get into the hospital, realize maybe it's not entirely the right profession for you. So but we also have priority clinical placement with WVU Medicine, Ruby for our Morgantown students. And so what is WVU Medicine and what is Ruby? So Ruby is the largest hospital in West Virginia. It is also magnet recognized. So it's the highest honor that a hospital can receive. So as a future nurse, it may be beneficial to try to look for a magnet recognized hospital for work. And then UHC, which is United Hospital Center, that's in Bridgeport, West Virginia. That's been ranked the top 100 facility for 2 years straight. And then WVU Medicine is the largest healthcare organization in West Virginia, but they've expanded outside of West Virginia. They have facilities in Maryland, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Virginia, and then obviously West Virginia. And then networking and employment opportunities. You're able to build relationships in that sophomore year once you start those clinicals in the facilities, and you can maintain those and build new ones up until you graduate. And that can obviously lead to employment. And so usually WVU Medicine and other large healthcare organizations usually offer super competitive sign-on bonuses and maybe some tuition reimbursement if you continue education, or they'll just repay some of your student loans right off the bat. So those are some of the benefits to working for a large healthcare organization like WVU Medicine. And I mentioned the laptop program requirement, and this is just for the Morgantown campus. Beckley and Kaiser campuses do not have to abide by this. So essentially what happens is you are provided a laptop in that sophomore year when you start the program, and then you are assessed a one-time fee from the Health Science Center for that laptop. It belongs to you. It's not a rental fee or anything like that. I think it's usually around $1,400 for that. And since it's recognized by financial aid, like academic scholarships and things like that can go to the cost of that laptop. Obviously, everybody's going to get a little bit of a different amount, but that can go to that. And then it's a MacBook. That's usually what they provide. And to be entirely transparent on why this is a requirement, we have an IT department here in the Health Science Center, and it just makes it easier if they're making repairs and downloading software and things like that on the same computer. And so that's why they just always have a MacBook. So some options for your freshman year, to kind of get you through, I encourage students to work through the most cost efficient options. So if you own a laptop now, see it through your senior year, see it through your freshman year, and then maybe get an IOU from a parent or a grandparent that planned on buying you one for graduation. The university does have plenty of resources. You can rent laptops from the library for a certain period of time. Obviously, residence halls and academic areas and libraries have desktop computers that you can use as well. But if you want something in your residence hall, maybe look for a new, used, or refurbished laptop. But obviously, I encourage students to just work through the most cost-efficient options first for this. I will say, unfortunately, you can't get this during your freshman year. It is a requirement during that sophomore year. So, and then what's next in the admissions and applications process? So a lot of you have applied to WVU, some of you have not. So that's going to be your first step, is to apply to WVU, select nursing on the application. So then you'll send high school transcripts, any ACT, SAT, or TE scores. If you have any AP or IB credits or dual enrollment credits or anything like that, go ahead and send those to us. And then based on your GPA and test scores, we'll place you into one of those tracks. And then if you decide or are leaning towards attending WVU, we encourage you to pay your academic deposit. It's $150 for in-state, $250 out-of-state. And I will say the Beckley and Kaiser campuses may have a different deposit system, or they may not have some at all. But for the main campus here in Morgantown, it's $150 in-state, $250 out-of-state. If you choose to attend WVU, that deposit just goes towards that fall bill. Paying that academic deposit allows you to progress and start the housing process. And so you can pay your housing deposit. And that's when you can start figuring out where you want to live, who your roommate may be. And that is a requirement for Morgantown if you live outside of our commuting radius. And I think it's 5 counties in the state of West Virginia and then 3 in Pennsylvania, if I'm not mistaken. And then lastly, it allows you to register for new student orientation. That registration will open in the spring, and NSO is essentially kind of like the last thing that you have to complete before you enroll into the university for that fall semester. So you'll meet with your advisor, you'll schedule your classes for the fall, kind of go over an outline of a progression plan, and just take care of anything else that's necessary. So that concludes our presentation. Hopefully you all got some good information from all of us here. You can see my contact information here, my office number, my email address. As Dr. Shapiro and others said, all of our information is listed on our website. So if you can't find it for whatever reason, it's all on our website. And we also have our social channels too, Instagram, Facebook, X, and YouTube. And it does feel weird saying X instead of Twitter. I still haven't got used to that. So I will go ahead and stop recording here real quick, and then we'll go ahead and open up the floor for questions.